So this is gonna be our topic for today. Date, key binding, CD. So I can select it and it appears down there. And Super X is also a key binding, so it also shows down there. And Super C, Super D also shows the date. Do you feel a little jealous? And the reason why I'm asking is because I thought that this is how window management would work, because I was introduced to Linux and Vim and Emacs by DistroTube, a YouTube channel that makes them all look like alien spaceship sort of thing, where there's a pilot of a spaceship like an octopus. He knows everything, he's like a wizard. And I thought this is what using Linux would be like. So I came to Linux and I was very disappointed by sxhkd daemon. Because the most we can do is make a key binding that opens you somehow the configuration file, so that you look at what key bindings there are. While what I basically saw, what I expect to be the default standard in Linux with all the tools, is DooM Emacs. You go space, you go W, wait, and you feel this. Mind you, this is stupendously crazy, like this is an abomination of software development, but there are very legitimate reasons why it would hook a newcomer. There's this feel of overwhelming information that makes you feel small, makes the computer feel big, and that I consider this to be very important. And I think this sensation was delivered properly. Now, the fans of my laptop go nuts again. For some reason, these headphones, this microphone they have, this picks up a lot of these fans, so I try to stay away. So yeah, Emacs has this, and actually this is like DooM Emacs. And if I switch back to normal Emacs vanilla, close that, and EM, but it's Emacs again, it still has, it always had, not exactly this, but something like it. And you could not complete it since I don't know when. Help, and you've got all of these nice things. So I came to Linux Mint after a lot of effort, and I was like, now I'll install DooM Emacs and I'll do all the magic stuff that DistroTube talks about. It was a 30 GB partition. The apt manager couldn't install the newest Emacs, so I couldn't have DooM Emacs. So I made a huge mess with package managers and flatpaks. And I reached the point where no matter what directory I would delete, no matter what I would do, I still wasn't able to reinstall Emacs. It was a nightmare. And yet I managed to finally do it after something like 30 hours of pain and having no idea what I'm doing. I installed Emacs and I gave it DooM. And I felt it. Half hour later, everything stuttered and the system crashed because my 30 GB partition filled up. I tried again. I tried on Windows, and they say that it's better to get the WSL version. So WSL is like Linux in Windows, and you put Emacs in there, you do X11 forwarding to get the window out on Windows. And I didn't know what any of that was. And I made again, I didn't make a big mess, but it took me 16 hours. A lot of, mentally exhausting 16 hours. And in the end, I didn't have energy left. My fans go nuts. I didn't have the energy left to install DooM. And I left it for later, and the later never came. And I felt so disappointed. I wanted to go to this heaven of machinery and letters everywhere that DistroTube has promised me. I didn't have friends, in case you couldn't tell, so I try to satisfy my emotional needs through dumb means like that. Anyway, I still do. So I went to the Arch Linux Discord community. What could possibly go wrong now? Because I had made a decision. I would make a machine, and I had seen DistroTube spin up virtual machines before. I had seen roughly the process of doing that, and I was aware that you name your machine while installing the operating system. And I thought to make an operating system and call it Slayer of Emacs, SL Emacs. I want to kill Emacs. Had enough of it. I would get suckless utilities and what have you, and get something close to a witch key. The witch key that DooM Emacs had on there. Turns out, the Arch Linux community was amazing. By the way, I managed to install Arch with a ton of help, most of which was by, turns out it was a 15-year-old. He told me that at the end, once we had already installed everything. So, the first thing I did was to set up bspwm and in the setup script open a terminal. No sxhkd daemon. I want to make sure that bspwm just works and I can open a Windows somehow. And yeah, that thing actually worked, thankfully. I think I had some sort of timeout, but I didn't know the timeout command back then, so it must have been some sort of background process plus a sleep statement. So, start it up, and then if nothing goes right, kill it. Or if everything goes right, still kill it. And I went on slowly and surely. In Linux Mint I wouldn't have bspwm. I tried, but the configuration files were also complicated. So I went to a very simple key binding system. Let me go further back. My bed is over there. So I went on with a very simple system. I got sxhkd daemon to just map one key. The super key clicked. If you would press the super key, a terminal would come down there and look like a witch key, and you would type keys in it. So it would be like super W and something. Super brings the window, it focuses the window, and now you type the keys in the window. I didn't know shell scripting very well, I didn't know anything very well, and what I really didn't know is that if you don't hack on Windows like that, it was so buggy. And the witch key kinda had to be there for you to press the keys in the first place. It was an abomination of software development. Little did I know I don't like witch keys anymore. I'm not sure I'll get into that, but later I switched to a simple sxhkd daemon exclusive kind of configuration, and I was really disappointed because it was better, less buggy. It was also promising way less. And I just asked the community why, and they couldn't answer. Then I made another sort of thing. I used to make configuration files for that first witch key thing. I made a configuration file that was key shell script, key shell script, key shell script, and the file name of this file was one key, and it was the leader key. So the file name would be named W, and it would have the keys that you press after W. I transformed that into a simple sxhkd daemon configuration. Then I went on, maybe a year later or something like that, and I made what did I make? An extremely complicated thing. Let me open the terminal, and now I have it in code for me snip. It was a snippet system. It would be at the same time snippets to copy and paste, some of which could be shell scripts, and those shell scripts could have been run. Some of these shell scripts would also be key bindings, some of them wouldn't. And some of the key bindings would prompt you to fill in parts of text that would make a shell script. And as the shell script would make itself little by little, it would appear at the bar at the bottom. Extremely complicated. That was mostly Git. Name.get Bruno print. Get out of there. I thought to upload it on GitHub, but I don't know what prevented me from doing that. So after making and remaking and making and remaking and ruining it and making it, I came up with this. And I came up with it a few days past because I was badly burned out by a school project, by a university project. For some reason it helped me out a little with the burnout. This thing, it's very difficult to explain what it is, but you can probably tell there is a shell check comment. And if you go all the way to the bottom, something feels off about these last ones, doesn't it? At the bottom you see this file in Vim. UPD. It actually means update. Yes, these are functions that run this thing in the first place. In there, you see one function, simple sxhkd daemon. In fact, you see three of them. Update has something regarding the simple sxhkd daemon, and it really restarts it. And this one, it casually just makes the configuration using this file. And simple sxhkd daemon awk1, awk2, 1 or 2, where is it? 1. I don't see somewhere to say this file, but there it is, this file. And indeed, here it is. Hope you can see it better now. Literally, that just takes the file. It's very easy to parse anyway. Single file. Single file. Somehow. And that's how I define simplicity nowadays. I would not define simplicity by state. Like it's this way. I would define simplicity by story. Did you make it complex, ruin it, and remake it? Then it's simple. Is it some... You're telling me I made it simple because it's this way, because it has that, because it has that, because it has that property. And I'm gonna tell you, did you make it complex, ruin it, and remake it? No. It's complicated then. Because simplicity will not be defined by its state. I'm not gonna define it by state. Why do you think it's simple if you made it just once? I don't believe you. I can't believe you. In case you couldn't tell, the way this works, this is a file. Let's go to that file. Snake 2. Actually, this is... I have sim linked it there, but config system command.shell. And if I zoom in, I'll have to like set up, because I limit these to 120 columns. Yeah, this is a file. This is the top, that's the bottom. LSP, stop it. I don't need this thing. One file. Get all this next highlighting that I couldn't get otherwise with the snippet system, because the snippet system just made snippets. So to make it more complicated in order to add next highlighting. the answer is to make it simpler. There are a bunch of remarks. Well, the comments, there are comments at the end, so you can search by like key binding, and it makes so much sense if you think about it. This is POSIX. It's POSIX compliant. It should run on BSD. Now it won't have the applications that it kind of says here, but it's so simple and important to damn it. Here's some interesting ones. Actually, I must have. Oh no, I showed you date, right? Here's another one, but only the smaller bar for it. CM. Okay, you can't see it. Let me like lemon bar. I changed it just for you, just so you're happy. Let me set it with another theme, and now you can. Okay, the gap remains, but CM shows me the memory. Now somehow you still can't see it, which is interesting, but. Anyway, there are some symbols showing me how much RAM and how much swap there is. And that's just standard output. The date command, if you take a look at it. Okay, let me lemon bar plus. Look at the command itself. Date. Semicolon. That's the command. Standard out comes out as this. So hard to come up with. A few key takeaways, which is, oh, by the way, this is way too late for key takeaways. I don't know how long this video has dragged on for. I'm not gonna say keep it simple, because it's very misleading to say that. My key takeaways is, keep the demands high. Still want the which key. I don't want the which key anymore. It's an overwhelming mess that attracts you because of its overwhelming. But still want functions that are not hooked to key bindings. Keep on wanting them, and don't throw that away for the sake of simplicity. Find a way to inline stuff. Make it easy to parse, specifically. Even if you shouldn't parse it with a simple sed command, which is what I did, make it parsable. You can do it. I can do it, you can do it. Because if you can parse it, then all sorts of doors open up for you. Another takeaway is, if you feel like there's a compromise, like I cannot use the same things as snippets, then try to go with the compromise. Try to see how much you actually lose in practice. And remember that software is designed to be cheap to change. That's why Alan Turing started out the whole software thing at all, to make something cheap to change compared to hardware. So that's the whole premise. It is cheap. We can make it, ruin it, and remake it without a lot of cost. In fact, this thing would have taken a long time to make had I not been through the previous journeys. Now I've settled, I'm not changing that. It's not gonna change ever. I think that's about it. By the way, I don't use Emacs. By the way, look at this. Look at that. Actually, you can't see it. Ooh. I have no idea where the mouse pointer was. I hope it was something very... I'm sure it was on the camera. Forget to like... There's a program that makes the mouse disappear for me, but still appears for you. Okay, I'm probably at the 15-minute mark, so have fun. I absolutely do recommend you try something like what I did. And if possible, just find friends so you don't go through my emotional nonsense. Okay. Friends turn out to be the solution to everything. Definitely not better tools. friends, and trial and error with tools that you make yourself. That's what I boil down to all my solutions to my problems. And goodbye. See ya.